guys, and today we are doing What If Deku had Altaria's abilities, part 1. And, spoiler warning, guys, there will be fluff involved for all the fluff. Anyway, there will be a lot of fluff. Okay, so we start off when Deku was 4. And throughout ages 1 through 4, his mom would sometimes give him bits of fluff. And he would love the fluff. He even had a, what's the name? I forget what the name is, but it's those fancy dogs. A poodle. He had a poodle named Fluff, of course. And Izuku loved fluff. He loved lots of fluff. And Deku, when he's 4, he wakes up as a little Altaria. A little whatever Altaria's first form is. And yeah, Izuku realizes he has a little fluff on him. And he's like, oh, fluff? As he tries to pick it off and play with it. But he realizes it's not coming off. And he's like, I got my quirk and it has to do with fluff! Let's go! And yeah, he starts celebrating because Fluff. And he comes over to Fluff and he starts hugging Fluff. He's like, Fluff, I have fluff! I have fluff! And he's loving his fluff. And Izuku comes over to his mom like, Mom, I got fluff. Now me and Fluff both have fluff. And Mom's like, Inko's like, too much fluff, Izuku. Slow down. So you have your quirk, and you have fluff on your quote-unquote wings. Izuku's like, yes. And Inko then continues, and we have a poodle named Fluff, right? And Izuku's like, yes. Inko then is like, okay. So you have fluff with fluff. For fluff. Yes. Izuku's like, fluff! That's right, guys. Instead of spoon, in this one, we have fluff. BRB, guys. And Izuku is very hyped about his fluff. So he goes to school the next day, and Bakugo's like, here's the next issue on how to deal with fluff, part 5, as Izuku walks in like, I heard my name, Fluff. And Bakugo's like, whatever. And Izuku comes over to Bakugo like, look, I got my quirk. I'm a bird with fluff. And Bakugo's like, so you're a bird and you put fluff on you? Izuku then shows him it's unattachable, and Bakugo's like, he has fluff with fluff. Dang it. I can't surpass him. As Bakugo is then shown with an entire body of fluff. And Izuku's like, you tried to compete with the Fluff Master, but no, you are still the Fluff Prentice. And Bakugo's like, I have no idea what you just said. Izuku's like, I don't either! As they start class. And throughout the years, Izuku became even more obsessed with his fluff. And one day in middle school, Izuku was ranting about fluff with his classmates on a presentation like, and that is 25 reasons why you should love fluff, as he evolves into Altaria. And he's like, more fluff! And the teacher's like, why? And Deku looks at her with the most serious expression ever. He says in all caps, fluff! As he goes back to his seat. And the teacher does not know how to cope with this because she's heard too much fluff. And the teacher drags him outside like, you need to stop with this fluff thing. Izuku slaps the teacher and walks back and like, you can't disrespect fluff like that. And Bakugo is like, yeah, you show him, Flufferdoodle. And Izuku's like, why'd you call me? Flufferdoodle! Okay. As we simulate all the way until the last day of middle school, where Izuku, I'm gonna say instead of, being all normal, he's fully decked out in his fluff. Little does he know, he somehow had the power to hold his mega form. And he goes up to Bakugo and is like, look at me. I'm super fluff. As he shows him the awesome fluff he is in. And he's doing it like pom-poms, like fluff, fluff, fluffy, fluff, fluffer, doodle. And Bakugo's like, when you do eventually give this up, and Izuku's like, which I won't. Bakugo's like, ugh. As he tries to use an explosion on Deku, and Deku then immediately dodges it, sits down, and does Dragon Dance. As he starts wiggling. And Bakugo's like, what are you doing? And then Izuku's eyes turn red, and he's like, you will find out. As he uses Earthquake, and the entire class just gets destroyed by this. And Bakugo's like, for all the things you say about fluff, your fluffy attacks are quite fluffy. Izuku's like, yes. And yeah, that happens. We simulate the 10 months of fluff training, where Izuku learns to harness his fluff abilities. And his moves are Dragon Dance, Earthquake, Dragon Rush, and Scary Face. Only for scaring away fluff haters. And Izuku did make a new dance called Fluff on the Haters, where you stand, you reach to your toes, and then you quickly fluff. And how to fluff? We don't know. I guess you just eat a potato. That's how you fluff. So you gotta eat a fluffy potato. So, Izuku, trying to get people to eat fluffy potatoes, eventually finds Uraraka in the street and is like, Who are you? And Deku's like, eat the fluffy potato, please. No one wants to eat my fluffy potatoes. And Uraraka picks off the fluff and she's like, fine. And she eats the potato and she's like, oh, this is so good. And Izuku's like, She supports the fluff? She ate the potato? Combine that together, you have a fluffy potato. Uraraka starts clapping like, yeah, fluff. And yeah, that happens. Anyway, when Deku was walking up to the UA, he is like, well, I can't wait to eventually take over the school and name it Fluff E. Yeah, not Fluff A, Fluff E. And yeah, Bakugo then is walking behind him and was like, your scheming scares me, Izuku. And Izuku's like, I'm just telling you what's going to happen. I'm going to take over the school and name it Fluffy. And I'll also make a fluff exhibit. And yeah, that happens. And Izuku always does fine on the exam. He does even better because he knows literally everything about fluff. He knows the chemical compounds. I didn't know I could say that word. And yeah, that stuff. He literally knows everything about fluff. And he loves his fluffy abilities. And he's actually very strong. People underestimate him because of how obsessed he is. He destroys if he dances on you enough. If he dances on you for like 50 seconds, you're a goner. So every 10 seconds, that's like one full dragon dance, guys. AKA Izuku wiggling. And yeah, Izuku in the practical exam, he's walking around trying to give all the robots peace offerings until they don't accept his potatoes. And he destroys them with absolute hatred. He uses dragon rushes. He cuts all of their heads off because he destroys all of them because they don't like his potato and they don't support the fluff. And yeah, Uraka then cries out, is like, help me, and Izuku's like, fluff on the way, as he flies over there and is like, fluff citizen, what do you need? And Uraka's like, right, the fluff guy. Fluff sir, I need you to save me, as she points to the fluff robot. And Uraka is like, save me from the fluff robot, I've got my fluffin' leg in the rocks. And Deku's like, your fluffin' leg? Okay. That's a lot of fluff. And he picks up the fluff rock and he puts it down. It's like, okay, you good? And Uraka's like, my fluff leg is good. Deku then dances for 50 seconds in front of the robot. And the robot's trying to process, like, what? And the robot then gets destroyed by the power of fluff vested in me. I know how to pronounce you. Fluff and robot. And Deku then destroys the robot. And yeah. Deku then walking away after the entrance exam. Uraka's like, hey Deku, can we hang out after school? And Deku is like, who? I don't know if you know my name around here. But my name is Fluff Senior. And you should respect me by my true name, Fluff. And Uraka's like, processing. Okay, Fluff. Yeah, there's a lot of fluff. F-L-U-F-F. Just don't ban me, YouTube. I'm saying fluff. And yeah, that happens. So, okay. So Deku, the next 4 weeks later, after training all of his fluffy abilities, he defeats some fluffy enemies in his fluffy video game called Fluff Fighters Fluff X. And yeah. Deku then gets a letter in the mail. He's like, oh, Ma, can you get it? And Ma Inko gets it. And yeah. Inko then gives him the letter. He opens it, gets the All Might projection, and he's like, welcome to your Hero Academia. And Deku then goes in to edit this thing and is like, maybe I can get him to say fluff. And he's like, welcome to your Fluff Academia. I was like, it worked! And yeah. Anyway, Deku the next day arrives at school like, this is my journey to make my dream come true. As he walks into UA, he's like, before I start all the fluff antics, I better make some friends. And yeah. And Izuku makes friends with a good amount of people. And Aizawa then interrupts them. And Deku is then explaining what would happen if the world were to get taken over by people who love fluff. And Izuku then is like, Aizawa, sir, I'm discussing something with them. And Aizawa's like, did he just interrupt me? And Deku is then pulled into the wall like, as a first day student, this is not the treatment I like. And Aizawa then makes them all go aside and do the thing. And Deku, with 93 points, he throws first. And Deku starts dancing for 50 seconds. And Aizawa was like, I did not come here to watch a fashion show. Hurry up, Izuku. Izuku, who's already stacked 5 dragon dances, like, with pleasure. As he uses Dragon Rush and launches the ball in his Mega Altaria form. And the ball goes 1,345 meters. And as I was like, well, at least you got something good. And yeah. That's where I'll be leaving off, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry if you guys don't like all the fluff in the video, but, you know, we make it work. Anyway, guys, thank you for all the support recently, as always. And this is Rushy signing off. Bye-bye. Hello, everyone. And today we are doing What If Deku Was Altaria, Part 2. And this has been super requested. I wasn't going to do it at first because it only has 560 views, but, you know, y'all seem to absolutely adore it. Probably because fluff. I don't see anything wrong with fluff. Okay. So, tell me in the comments, guys. I'll post a part 2 for this one. It'll make it a normal amount of time. But if you guys want me to do the rest of it in a part 3, or just span it out between a part 3, 4, and 5, you can comment that down in the comments below. So, let's get on to the video. Hello, okay, everyone. Guys. Today we are continuing the video. So we start off right after we left off, which was right after the physical exam ended. And for a little recap, Izuku, with his fluff powers, gets first place next to Momo, who then comes over to Deku and smacks him with a metal pipe, and then Deku actually blocks it, and then with his fluff hand is like, "You dare question me, mortal." And Momo is like, this never happened, as she walks away, and Eraserhead with his scarf basically slaps her leg. Thick. And Deku walks away like, no one can oppose me. And yeah, that's when the next day, Deku and everyone in the class was greeted by All Might coming into their classroom, and Deku was like, You're obviously not real, because he died 50 years ago. You know that, right? And the guy in the costume was like, "You're a smart, kid. Okay, looks like he will have to teach the class." And that's when the man, the myth, the legend comes out. King Spoon walks in the room in his Hawaiian pants, and he's like, "Sup, children?" And Deku is like, "Spoon in the house!" As in the back of his mind, he's like, why could he not be fluff? Why did he not have the fluff? And the Spoon King is like, I love fans. They clearly appreciate my spoonage. And that is when Deku and his entire class is told by Spoon King himself, go watch What If Deku Was Mewtwo full series for that. And Deku and his whole classroom gets told by Spoon King, like, go get on your hero costumes, as always, in your generations. And I do want to keep informing in this, Spoon King will retire in about a month, I'll say. Because all the what ifs that are in the Spoon King universe are a generation apart. And UA just keeps doing the same things because they clearly have not gotten used to the same exact plan from the League of Villains, so they just have it for a training exercise because the League of Villains are just like a default exercise now. So there's always a band of villains, a guy who looks like Shigaraki, and the god Nomu. That the students aren't even close to his strength, so Spoon King usually comes in, saves them, gives them a confidential speech, and then they go out for some training. That's what the USJ is. So, just wanted to inform you all on that. So, Deku and his entire team walk out of the way. And Deku has an outfit like you see in the picture. Except, it's not all girl like this. He does have a massive fluff hat with a massive fluff sweater. Except, he has pants. Nice. And Deku is like so much fluff. As he looks over to Uraraka, which is like, why do you look amazing, Deku? And Deku's like, I can't stop it. My fluff is just too amazing. As Ochako looks to him like, so, I have a question, Deku. What happens if we're on the same team? And Deku's like, well, then we're on the same team. And Uraraka's like, but I thought, okay. And Deku's like, what is it? And Uraraka's like, well, back when we were in 7th grade. And Deku's like, what about 7th grade? Kinda forgettable. And Uraraka's like, well, that one customer that was not the nicest to your fluff agency? And Deku's like, oh, that one. Yeah. I was on the verge of killing them, but I stuck to my word of being a hero. So, where's the story going, Ochako? As Uraraka's like, he used my first name. And Ochako's like, well, I may have been that person, as Deku gets all serious-eyed like, oh, did you mean what you meant all those years ago? As Uraraka's like, I did at the time. I thought your business was hot garbage. And Deku slaps her like, it is a perfectly fine business, thank you. Me and Sir Fluffer will keep doing our business. And I hope that people like you never show up again. And you gotta appreciate the fluff. As Uraraka's like, I don't mean it now, I love your fluff. And Deku's like, tell me, if you really love my fluff, do you have one of these special keychains? As he shows her the Master Fluff chain. And Uraraka's like, yeah, I do have that, actually. As she pops it out of her pocket. And Deku's like, you have gained my trust back. But if you dare try and pull that again, I will banish you from the fluff, and you will never be my friend again. I will stab you. And Uraraka's like, why? It's just my fluff. And Deku is like, we can talk about this after whatever's today. And Uraraka's like, okay. As when All Might calls out the teams, Izuku Midoriya and Ochako Uraraka. I mean, why did I say All Might? I mean Spoon King. And Deku gets all depressed when he hears his name with Ochako, like, the hater. As then his team is called to go against Bakugo. Just assume we're a 4th generation down the line, guys. And Spoon King, he's on his last legs. Like, he thought he was gonna retire like a year ago, but his fans really did not want him to, and he tried to assure them that it would all be fine, but they saw some of the mess ups the number 2 hero did. Accidentally blew up a building. Just casually. And they didn't exactly have the most confidence in number 2 here, you see. So, Spoon King, who wasn't that strong anymore. I mean, he could still do all the techniques, but his power had gone down a lot. So, say if you had a Prime All Might versus Spoon King, it would be quite a close match. Because he lost touch with a lot of his magic by now. He was nearly in his 60s. And yeah, he had a little white hair. So you can imagine. People didn't think he was exactly the strongest, but secretly, he was still the strongest in Japan by only a little bit. Next to Deku's Fluff Agency. Anyway, when the game starts, Bakugo's 4th generation down the line. Bakugo is quite dead by now. And, actually, no, he's not dead. Okay, so 4 generations. That would probably be something like 80 years, but well, half that. And it's 40 years now. So, Bakugo could still be alive if King Spoon. Okay, I have to recount this. So, if King Spoon is still alive and he's nearly 60, and it's 4 generations down the line, Bakugo would be 60. But 4 generations would be around 20 years at the very least. So we'll say, somehow, four generations. So, I mean, maybe Bakugo could live that long. We'll say Bakugo died in an accident when he was near the end of his career, when he was around 38. And when he was having his retirement speech, let's say Bakugo was assassinated. So yeah, that was just clearing that up because I clearly missed something there. And yeah. So King Spoon, watching them, when Bakugo's 4th generation kid, we'll call him Uziku. I mean, be quiet. And we'll call him Uzu Tarusu. For a complex Japanese name. And that's when we'll just say Bakugo's 4th generation son. Bakugo's 4th generation son comes from the corridor, and immediately with his very strong explosion quirk with now black explosions, which it does not sound as strong as you think it is. You see, it's there's blue explosion, then there's black explosion. It's not like God explosions. So when Bakugo shoots one immediately at Deku, Deku uses his wings, his fluff on his suit to shoot a massive airwave and completely deflect the entire explosion. And Deku quickly flies through the explosion and kicks Bakugo in the face. And he's like, "Oh, you're approaching me?" As Deku kicks him into the wall and is like, "Well, if you're really and if you are really stronger than the Ida kid, let's see if you can channel your energy to beat this." As he clicks a button on his watch, and energy starts pouring into his body, and that's when he says, "Mega Evolve," as his suit gets a lot bigger and expands with more fluff. And he's like, "Sir Fluffles did it. He knew all the places to put the fluff. Fluff suit, type 4, expansion mega. As he finally finishes his evolution into mega, and Deku kicks Bakugo through the wall again, and Bakugo's 4th generation son gets up like, for how much we've evolved over the years, Izuku, you gotta imagine my family has developed more than one quirk. And Deku's like, I've known him for this long and he has 2 quirks? Or does he? And Bakugo then hits his chest and he becomes fully invisible. And Izuku is like, this is not good. As he stops talking and just waits to listen. And then he hears footsteps around him. And then he hears someone walking up to his back. And Deku's like, there. As he sends a dragon pulse right over there. And he hears Bakugo like, oh, that was close. But can you predict this? As he says invisible explosions, as he shoots up into the air, and without any idea of where he could be coming from, Deku is like, okay, could this work? As he taps his button on his watch, which is connected to his suit, as his entire suit makes like a fluff shield. And the explosion hits his fluff, and it just completely bounces him off of it. And Bakugo's like, what the heck? Is it like impenetrable? As he goes right next to the fluff and is like, full power AP shot for great granddad, as he shoots it through the fluff. And Deku can see him and is like, hello, as he sends a dragon pulse through it, and his suit uncovers. And Deku's like, there's no way, it's infinite time. He cannot last that long. As he gets fluff on his hands and then starts expanding it like, yes, as he makes a sword eventually. And Bakugo's like, now if you can see me, can you hear me now? It goes quiet. And Deku then slashes around him and is like, okay, let's finish this. As I haven't used the full extent of Mega. As his eyes turn red and he can see through invisibility and sees Bakugo standing still, about to fire an AP shot right at Izuku's head. And Deku quickly bolts to him with his fluff sword and cuts off his arm. And Bakugo's son screams. And Deku is like, you really think this is a fight you can win? How naive. As his sword is covered in even more fluff. And Deku's like, let's end this. After all, this exercise is now used with respawn materials. Technology is weird. And yeah, well, as you can see, guys, 60 years into the future, so like 2080, we'll say technology has come too far, and now you can respawn and set respawn points like a literal video game. And Deku touched the respawn button like everyone else when he opened the building. So he then cuts it through a hole inside of Bakugo's 4th generation son's chest. And Deku's like, this is not a fight you can win. Just to give up. As Bakugo's 4th generation son uses his charged up AP shot and fires it point blank on Izuku's face. and Izuku goes flying through walls. And when the smoke settles, he blocked it with his fluff, but his face was quite damaged from this. And Deku was like, that brat. As he's like, well, I'm happy this suit is basically everything a hero could ever want. As he plucks fluff from his suit and puts it on his face, as it completely covers his face, and when it shrivels off, Izuku's face is completely healed, and he drops it onto the ground where a new piece of fluff where he plucked it off forms. And Deku's like, I have literally no limitations with this. As Deku gets up and zooms towards Bakugo, and still using the red eye trick, cuts Bakugo's one of Bakugo's legs off. And Deku was like, I'm sorry, but you shouldn't have to go through this. Just give up. I don't want to have to kill you. And Bakugo's like, I'll never give up. I am the strongest one here, as Deku's kicked in the face. And then, with another AP shot, Deku is like, not this again, as he quickly dodges out of the way. But Bakugo, suspecting this, didn't fire, but just moved his hand, and he shot right back at Izuku, another point blank. And Izuku flies through more walls, as he's like, I can't keep using this. As he gets more fluff and keeps healing himself, Deku is like, okay, I do want this fight to end. This is getting painful. As he makes two little blades, which look like knives, and then he converts them into a little speck, and then, holding both of them with his pointer finger and thumb, quickly rushes at Bakugo. And when Bakugo tries to AP shot him again, he uses the two very small blades and stabs him in the neck, and then just pushes all the way down. And that's when Bakugo falls to the ground, dead, but, his body just completely disintegrates, and he winds up right back at the respawn point, which is right next to the entire class also. And Bakugo's like, why is this so brutal? And Deku's like, I hate that this exercise has to go to that extent. As Deku quickly flies through the entire building and eventually finds Uraraka, which it looks over to Ida quickly, and he spots her. And when he goes in for a kick, Deku flies through the walls and catches his kick and slams him onto the ground. And Deku looks to Uraraka like, get the bomb. I'll get him. As he spreads his wings like, this is your end, Ida. As he kicks him into a wall and starts just wiggling. And he's like, Dragon Dance. As for 50 seconds there, everyone stares at him as he keeps wiggling. And every 10 seconds, an orange glow thickens around his body. And when it gets to an entire minute, Deku stops dancing and looks over to Ida, and he's like full power as he touches his jacket, and his fluff grows immensely, and he then pours it all out into a single punch. And Deku's like, the end, as he blitzes towards Ida, and without Ida even being able to see it, punches him in the gut, which just completely explodes Ida's body. And he respawns right back at the entire class 1A. And Deku goes over and touches the bomb. And that's when King Spoon says, I get too old for this. Heroes win. And yeah. Be right back, everyone. Okay, everyone. And this is where I'll be signing off, actually. I really dragged out that fight, but I feel this was a good part 2. So, if you guys want this part 3, let's get to 5 likes within the first 3 days. If we can do that, it'll show me this is at least a little popular. And I'll do a part 3 the next day. So, this is Call Me Rushed, signing off. Bye-bye. Hello, everyone. And today we are doing What If Deku was Altaria, part 3. And I will be releasing a 600 subscriber special sometime within this week. I'll let you guys, well, yeah, you'll be notified, obviously. And if you aren't notified, go down into my channel and turn on notifications and make sure you are subscribed, because sometimes YouTube tends to unsubscribe you. So just in case. Okay, onto the video. Okay, everyone. So, we'll get into the video now. So, we continue off the day after Deku and his classmates finished the All Might's special hero versus villain training exercise, which, yeah, I did a whole episode on that entire fight. That was part 2. So, you know, maybe should have gave you guys more content, but yeah, I don't really have an excuse there. I just accidentally did that. So, guys, let's get into it. So, we continue this off on Deku and Ureka are walking into class like, so what do you think we'll be doing today? And Deku's like, maybe some more hero versus villains training, or endurance training, or quirk training, something. Ureka's like, yeah, that sounds smart. As when they sit down, Aizawa tells everyone, go get in the bus. We'll be going to the USJ, the unforeseen simulation joint. And you guys will be doing just basically everything. Rescue training. Everything in rescue training. So, go. As they all hop onto the bus. And they're going to the USJ. And during all of the conversations that were happening during that time, Sue goes to Deku like, hey, Izuku, why do you always insist on using the word fluff? As Izuku looks to her like, well, you see, I have all this fluff, and you don't. So I don't see why I can't simply, spread the fluff to the world. And Sue's like, you kind of sound like Hitler there. Deku's like, confusion? Who? And Sue's just disappointed. I'm like, this is like elementary school stuff, Izuku. And Izuku's like, you see, in elementary school, I had fluff with me. And you see, you didn't, so you wouldn't even imagine the amount of entertainment all that fluff gave you. So, how did I get off track that far? Okay, and then Bakugo interrupts them like, stupid Izuku. I should have beaten you there. And Bakugo's kid is like, you clearly cheated somehow. And Izuku looks to him like, I would love to know how that happened. As Spoon King, who was still trying to find one of his missing diamond spoons from his pocket, And while he was scrambling to find it, Principal Nezu, well, No. I was thinking about something. Principal Nezu walks up over to Spoon King and is like, Spoon King, let's come in here. Let's talk about your retirement stuff. And Spoon King's like, okay, Nezu. And while they're doing that, the children all arrive at the USJ. And when they all get out, they see this girl. And she's in a spacesuit, but it's like a tiny spacesuit. And she takes off the helmet like, hello, students. And they all shout, 14! You know, get it, like 13? And then, this is 14? Anyway, Izuku is like, that's the rescue hero 14. She goes completely off of what her great-grandmother did, who is 13. Somehow we went from 13 to 12 and 11 to 14. Anyway, guys, when they open up the doors to the USJ, the 14 then explains, well, Inoue, as a very good hero school, you'd imagine we have some really enduring training exercises here. We have the usual League of Villains fight, which isn't really the League of Villains fight, but it's become standard for all students to fight in this at least once. So if you do want to fight in it, be my guest. As the more daring students sign up for it. And Izuku and all the other kids who did it go over and do that. But 13 starts training them with everyone else who didn't want to do that. But secretly, a new League of Villains is waiting for the perfect time to attack. To end Spoon King's reign of heroism and his beacon of light that his massive spoons grant throughout the entirety of the country of Japan. And when Izuku and everyone eventually defeat the Nomu, and Izuku is basically bloodied and just mangled because he took most of the damage, as he just takes off a piece of the fluff of his suit and then puts it on his neck, and then it restores his entire body. Izuku's like, I do not want to do that again. As 13 walks up to them, and Izuku is like, why did I say 13? 14 walks up to them, and Izuku's like, what is it, 14? And 14 is like, did you guys beat them yet? Did you start the event? As Izuku is like, we just came back from it. What do you mean? As 13's like, then why is there a golden portal? As Izuku's like, a golden portal? As I screw everything about the just future stuff. I'll just be saying Spoon King instead of All Might, guys. That's all that I'll be changing here, because I will not get used to it. I just can't. Just imagine, though, with your very small imagination in this century, imagine that it's the future, people, that I've been talking about. So, Aizawa looks down to them like, everyone, get back. As he gets out his scarf like, I'll do this. As he jumps down there. And, so there was a purple portal before. Now it's golden. Which, it's actually a difficulty spike and one of the League of Villains spiked it up, and he restarted the event. But Aizawa, not knowing this, four of normal, really strong Nomus just start beating him up. And that's when Izuku comes down there, and with his new attack, which was Dazzling Gleam, he uses Dazzling Gleam and cuts them all up. And Izuku's like, this is how I did it. As he cuts them all up, and then he uses Twister. And they all get knocked into part of the USJ's glass. And when all the Nomus are bleeding, Izuku goes up into the air and then uses a Dragon Pulse and just evaporates all of them. Izuku flies down like, I can kill them all, but it's very tiring. As Izuku looks over to Aizawa like, was that it though? No, I won't stop. Okay, so Izuku looks over to Aizawa like, I guess that was it. And the League of Villains, be right back, guys. Okay, guys, continuing off, so Deku, okay, making sure I'm still on the same picture. Okay, so Deku looks over to Aizawa once again, like, seriously, is there anything else? Aizawa was like, right there. As he throws a Calth drop at a new golden portal, which the League of Villains' new leader walks out of and catches the Calth drop and throws it at Aizawa, which hits his knee, and Aizawa just plucks it out. As the new leader did not look like crap, thank you, like Shigaraki. His costume looked like a sailor captain, like a Grand Admiral. I play Guardian Tales, guys. Just don't beat me up for that. I hope that's what Grand Admiral means. They look cool. So, Deku is like, why does he look like that? And that's when Deku, and Aizawa are bombed, as the guy's name we'll call Utensil. I was like, okay, guys, fire the Armada. As Izuku and his class begin getting just rained on with bullets, and 14 is getting just destroyed by them all. And 14 ended up having to go to the hospital, and that's when Spoon King teleports over there, and he is immediately hit by one of the missiles, and him being old actually gets hit by it, and that's when Utensil is like, he definitely has gotten weaker, as Utensil grabs out of a very mysterious backpack that he's wearing a massive scythe with some red substance on the metal part, as he goes over to Izuku, who is in his way of Spoon King, as he's like, get out of my way, kid. As Izuku narrowly dodges the first slash, and he catches the second one, and Utensil just says, get out of my way, kid. This is not the place for lowly kids who think they're good at this. As he kicks Izuku, and then gets out his scythe like, ultimate move. The Sea's Wrath, as Izuku falls into a random puddle, and when he thinks he's out of it, his arm nearly gets cut off by a massive scythe slash, as Izuku quickly throws fluff on it and regens it, As Ezekiel gets back up and looks at Utensil like, you should know, heroes these days, even the ones in training, are much more powerful than anything before us. I would know. As Ezekiel is rained upon even more with the missiles, and Ezekiel makes a fluff shield around them all. And Ezekiel's like, that should keep that off. As the Grand Admiral's like, pesky kid. As he's like, I'll have to use maybe 3% for you, just to give you a little show. As Ezekiel's like, 3% of what? As Ezekiel is suddenly cut in half with the scythe, as Ezekiel quickly throws 4 pieces of fluff on his waist and regens it. As the Grand Admiral is like, stupid kid. As he says 5%. As Ezekiel is hit by the scythe, and it cuts him on the chest, and this immediately knocks Ezekiel out. And Ezekiel didn't get enough time to throw fluff, but King Spoon quickly picks him up and puts fluff on the wound, and King Spoon then lays him down. And King Spoon is like, I'm getting way too old for this kind of crap these days. As he gets out his magnificent spoon, and he's like, perfect spoon, second form, magnificence. As the Grand Admiral's like, what are you doing? As the King Spoon teleports in front of him and stabs him in the chest with the magnificent spoon, and kicks the Grand Admiral into the wall. And King Spoon is like, I may be old, but I do assure you, I am extremely strong still. I'm not in my prime, though. I could have already beaten you in that time. As the Grand Admiral is like, well, for you, I will show 50% for now. As he pours 50% of power into the scythe and immediately blitzes towards King Spoon. And King Spoon can't even see him, that's how fast he is. And King Spoon just teleports up in the air. And then with a normal spoon, sits on it as he floats up there. As he then realizes he can probably just jump up here, actually. As he jumps down to the Grand Admiral who is looking for him and hits him on the head. And that injures the Grand Admiral, but just not enough. And the Grand Admiral, who regens from the hit, is like, you know you can't beat me, old man. As King Spoon is like, I will not go down to a low life like you. I will retire in the public's eyes, not in front of my students. As Ezekiel wakes up and looks over to King Spoon like, oh crap. As he sees that the Grand Admiral already found his weak point. As the Grand Admiral's like, I see this. As King Spoon's like, crap, he knows. As the Grand Admiral taps on the ground, and that's when a massive scythe appears out of it, and King Spoon now can't see anything, and he hears someone walking towards him, and that's when his weak point, which is we'll say the back of his leg, and he cuts it open, and that's when all of the magic power from King Spoon starts falling out, and King Spoon, immediately regenning it, is then kicked in the face by Grand Admiral. And Grand Admiral goes, I'm not doing any damage to you, but you're not doing anything to me. I feel I should end this in one shot. As King Spoon's like, same. As he makes all 20 forms of his spoonology. As he says, spoononomics. As all of his spoons gather around him in a pentagram. As he then, out of the ground, summons the perfect spoon. As he grabs it and then looks over to Grand Admiral, who now had dual scythes, and the Armada now breaking the Fluff shield because Izuku was really weakened. And the perfect spoon just immediately makes a new shield that nothing could get through. And he runs at the Grand Admiral, teleporting in front of him. And the Grand Admiral just cuts King Spoon right open on the waist. And King Spoon is like, how the heck? As they start having an all-out clash with their weapons. And after about a minute of just straight fighting, Izuku eventually can see how fast they're going. And King Spoon is getting beaten heavily. And when they get out of the little scuffle, King Spoon is bloodied and battered. And Grand Admiral has a lot of bumps on them. And lots of spoon wounds. And that's when King Spoon walks backwards. And Grand Admiral's like, oh, you want to end it? Let's do this. Let's dance, old man. As she shoots both of her scythes up into the air. And they all burst into one single thing of energy of light. As Izuku flings two things of fluff onto King Spoon, and as they hit King Spoon then says, I appreciate it, kid, but I don't know if I'll need your help here. As he raises his hand up with his perfect spoon, and his spoon's essence goes up into the air. That's when the spoon starts levitating, and it shatters, and then becomes a massive ray of rainbow light. And Spoon King is like, for the greater good, I must defeat you. As he holds his heart, as he'd been cut a couple times there. And the Grand Admiral, seeing that he's outmatched, he quickly opens up the power even more to it. And Grand Admiral then shouts, maximum overdrive, as they are matched in size. And that's when they both launch their attacks. And in the beam struggle, Izuku flies up there with his entire class in astonishment. Izuku is like, Mega Evolve, as he taps on his little tie. And he becomes Mega Altaria, whatever it is. And Izuku is like, massive Mega Dragon Pulse, as his beam goes right towards the blast, and it starts pushing against King Spoon's blast. And Grand Admiral notices he's being overpowered, and Grand Admiral's like, no way, I won't fail, as he starts pouring life essence into it. And Spoon King noticing this, like, he really does want me to die here. I won't fall for that trap. As he looks over to Izuku like, give it all you've got. If you really want to do this, I can guarantee us our win. But if you really want me to stay alive a little longer, we can stay here for a little until the pros come. As Izuku's like, I can't hold out much longer, sir. I don't know. I'd say wait for the pros, but they blocked off the entrances. Sir, I want you to use the least amount of life essence you have to pour into this blast. As King Spoon is like, fine, kid. As he then extracts yellow energy from inside of his body, and it goes straight towards the blasts. And Izuku and King Spoon's attack immediately overpower Grand Admiral's. And when Grand Admiral's attack is consumed, Grand Admiral then is also consumed from the attack. And Grand Admiral is just vaporized from it. He goes out screaming, saying, Master, please. We were this close to winning. As he shouts for his teacher, but it seems he couldn't achieve his goal. And that's when, within a white void, Grand Admiral wakes up, and he looks around, and that's when his teacher, which we'll keep anonymous for now, welcomes him like, welcome, Grand Admiral. You've done well. You've led your army. You've nearly defeated King Spoon. He might even die after this attack, but know this. If you ever need help, just call for me. Remember that promise you told me? I'll honor it, because I owe you a favor from when you saved my life. I'll save yours. But you'll have only 30 months to live. I know that sounds like a lot to you, but it's really not. That's only 2.5 years, so I'll save you, but I have to take a lot of your life essence, as his teacher takes a lot of it, and the Grand Admiral falls to the ground like, Sir, come on, I'm on my very last legs here. As his teacher appears in front of the blast and just completely flicks it away. And King Spoon is just awestruck, like, how? That was our strongest attack. And while this is happening, Izuku crosses his fingers behind his back like, that's what we tell him, yeah. And secretly, Izuku has a secret, we'll say, as his Meg Altaria form. And, yeah, that's what happens. So, they see the teacher in front of them, and Izuku fires a massive fireball a dragon pulse at him, and he teleports away with Grand Admiral. And yeah, that's where we'll be leaving off, ladies and gentlemen. This is Call Me Rushed, signing off. Look for the 600 subscriber special coming this week. And bye. Hello, everyone. And today we're doing What If Deku Was Altaria, Part 4. Also, guys, this will be more so on the villain side, as you can see from the picture. Since, last part, we had a Grand Admiral person as the villain, and we'll be seeing like the inner conflict, from we'll call it Team Aqua. It sounds cool, okay? And it's Pokemon, just like our entire channel. So, onto the video. Okay, onto the video. So, we start this off right as, right after, their teleporter guy, who, was not expecting to be so easily, defeated by only one of the students. And this was, the future generation of Kaminari's kid. And he shot black lightning at the a water portal guy. It's basically a whirlpool. So, as you imagine, when he teleported back, and one of the smaller commanders is like, "Where is he?" And we'll call him Water, the whirlpool guy. Water's like, he was not defeated, but Master will be coming back with him. He's very beaten up by the last fight. And that's when Marina, the girl in the picture, and the vice commander says, "What? He was supposed to be a lot stronger than them, and we even sent in that beast." Okay. So, here's the question. Why was he defeated? Well, there was an issue. There was King Spoon as we expected, but before that we were fighting this kid, and he was very, very strong. As she yells at him like, "It was just a kid. It cannot be that hard." And Water is just like, "Sorry, ma'am, but he was heavily out of his league, I feel." And it didn't even look like the student was trying. They did say Mega Evolve and full power eventually, but they clearly weren't showing full power. I don't think King Spoon could see that they weren't using full power either. And I have a theory. And Marina sits back in her chair like, "And what's that?" And Water is like, "Well, I feel I believe they were called Altaria. Might be with our rival organization." More Pokemon within this, guys. I feel it could be the Magma group. And she just hits her head on her hand like, "No, there's no way." She was even blue, wasn't she? I was looking at the camera on your shoulder. And Water's like, "It could just be something." Well, he will be coming back soon. And yeah. As they hear a teleporter thing, and their leader drops him off at the base, and he teleports back to where he was, and he says, "Take care of him, Marina. I don't want to have to do that again. This is only one of our smaller operations. You should have had to save him, but I know I haven't given you a teleport quirk yet. I'm still trying to find another person with that." And he teleports back to his quarters. And she's like, "That was my fault. If I would have had a teleport quirk, that fight would have been over, and he would have been dead." And Water's like, "Well, he actually might die soon because he put in a large portion of his life essence into a blast that Master just deflected easily. So King Spoon is quite clearly falling out of it. And I feel we can kill him easily. Just send a couple beasts with you and I and maybe young Master. And then we can defeat him." And she sighs like, "Yeah, that might work. But we'd have to intercept them at another vulnerable time. So, yeah, I feel we can plan ahead for that." So, you got all of their schedule? And Water grabs papers from a portal and reaches out and grabs them all. And he says, so after this, they'll have a sports festival with a lot of heroes at it. That's a no. And Marina's like, yeah, we're not doing a very popular one. And he then announces, like, well, then there's work studies, and then there's final exams, but top heroes will be there, so probably not a good idea. Oh, after that will be a summer training camp with some low-level heroes, the Wild Wild Pussycats, Generation 4, with two teachers and the 4 heroes. So 4 low-level heroes and 2 quite strengthened heroes and all of their students. And Marina's like, yeah, that can work. Now go. We need to devise a plan. Create an army. And go find that family. And Water's like, him? You really think we need him for this fight? And Marina gets out of her chair like, absolutely. If we want to take down the number 1 hero, who really shouldn't be the number 1 hero, we can do this. He's weak, and we'll get momentum against Magma. Even if we have to deal with that Altaria person. We can do this, Water. For Master. And their leader comes through the intercom and is like, good speech, Marina. I will get the assets for you ready. I'll get 8 highly trained robotic creations. And I'll be giving you a teleport quirk. And that would be it. Is that all you need, Marina, for your raid? And Marina is like, I need one more thing. I need a little squad so I can keep the 4 low levels occupied. And I'd also like one normal, very strong villain. If that would be very fine. And the boss is like, that works. Yeah. I'll be getting over that with your other superiors who are onto the other schools and other classes to invade, to damage this horrible society that humanity has grown up with throughout the last 100 years. It should never have existed. And we can't let that third organization, the Black Rubies, group up. Because I hear they have one very strong person that we don't know about, but they are rumored to be far superior to King Spoon. And yeah. Be right back, guys. I'll get a new picture for the next arc, which will be about the Black Rubies. Okay. Okay, guys. Back to the video. Deku. Basically, if you hear me say Deku, it's the main character. He walks up to a mysterious door, which by the way, guys, his mother is just somewhere else. She lets him go out a lot, so you'll understand why. So, when Deku is on the week-long break, well, the 2-week-long break, I'll say, after the USJ incident, he walks through a mysterious door leading to a very malicious discovery. He's like, Victor, what happened here? And his colleague Victor is like, one of the heroes found out, but only one, I promise. Sorry, boss. And Deku's like, that's fine. Ricky, go clean that up. And Ricky then goes clean it up. As Deku sits down in his chair like they'll never see it coming. As Deku looks at his computer like, that fight should not have happened. The number one hero will fall, but maybe we can keep him as an ally to the students. Maybe I can recruit one and make them stronger as they grow. I was thinking maybe the kid I manipulated. You know him? I only spent around 15 years as... You remember my quirk, right, Victor? And Victor's like, sorry, boss, what was it? And Deku's like, my quirk? Well, I have two. That Altaria form you guys know about, the one I'm currently in. Well, as he clicks on his watch, I also have this magma form, which in it has a quirk inside of it that allows me to shift between any age, which basically grants me immortality. Victor's like, sorry, boss, I forgot. And Deku's like, no, it's fine. I let you all know. So, anyone else coming to the meeting? And Victor's like, no, I think that's it, boss. And Deku then puts his hand on the table like, well, black rubies. If I said he was magma, I'm sorry, guys. And Deku was like, this was a heavy hit for us. That should not have happened. As I say again. And we need to launch an attack against either magma or aqua. I'm thinking aqua, since they are shorter on resources, after all. But magma is clearly developing something. It does not seem to be an army as far as our spies are concerned, and the intel we've gotten from the inside. That seems to be it. We will be launching an attack against UA when they go, when Class 1A goes into their, what's it called? I do believe it's called the Sports Festival, boss. And Deku's like, thank you, Victor. And yeah, we'll be going against the Sports Festival. We'll be attacking 1, 2, 3. We'll be attacking all 3 classes from the first year. And we'll be attacking the crowd and the couple pro heroes that are there. And yeah, that seems to be it for the meeting. I'll be developing an army. I'll be getting very close to with one of the students. Hopefully I can recruit them. I want all of you to try and get your closest people and develop an army of villains. And we'll invade UA. So, bye. As he walks out the door and just turns back into his Altaria form. And he then flies back to his house. And when he opens the door, his mom's like, where were you, Izuku? And Izuku's like, no, Mom, I was out with friends going to the movies. And Inko's like, okay, Izuku. And yeah. So, Izuku just smirks as he goes to sleep. And yeah, 2 weeks later, we're at the sports festival. And as everyone loads off the bus, Shinso's kid, who is, I'll say is the 1A's teacher, is like, well, students, are you all here? And Deku's like, yeah, we seem to all be here, Aizawa. And Shinso's like, Aizawa? And Deku's like, oh, I meant Shinso. And Shinso's like, get it right next time, problem child. And Deku was like, I'll show you, problem child. As Shinso's like, what was that? And Deku's like, nothing. And they all walk onto the, they all walk into the arena. And when Deku is called for the pledge, he smirks like, this is the perfect signal. And he, as he's walking through the crowd to get on the stage, he gets on the mic next to his collar and says, get in place, man. When I say go on the podium, I want you all to attack. Okay? And they all say yes. And he gets on the podium and says, well, I understand these past weeks that Hero Society has been very damaged by the recent attacks against my class, and I hope we can all give a great fight. And in honor of Class 1A, I'd like to present to you the new villain group, as everyone is shocked, the Black Rubies. As he turns into his black and red form. And he starts attacking just all the students in the arena. And everyone comes out of concealed slots in the wall, and everyone is being attacked. King Spoon comes out of his little area. He's like, I never thought he, my very close friend, my student, who I mentored for years, I never thought he'd be one to do this. As Deku sees him and teleports right behind him and kicks him in the back of the head, and King Spoon's like, that hurt. As Izuku lifts him up by the throat like, I never thought this would be so easy. King Spoon is like, you best believe it isn't, as he kicks him in the face. And King Spoon is like, it's so early in the fight, but I want to end this quick. As he taps on his little necklace, and he says, Mega Evolve, as he turns into Mega Mewtwo X. And it increases his defense and attack, but lowers his speed. And Mega King Spoon is like, this is what you will feel for all the people you've hurt. As tons of people in the audience are being killed, and very injured heroes are being hurt in the crowd. So, Izuku then also taps on his necklace, but says, limit break. As his entire body shatters, and when he reconstructs, he has a blade and like a sharpened hand, and he has a little gun out of his arm, and he has horns now out of his body, and he's gotten immensely stronger. As he says, you think your old generation is enough for me? As he jumps over to Mega King Spoon, and he slaps him into the air. And when Izuku teleports up there and stabs King Spoon in the gut and then kicks him down, King Spoon, when he hits the arena right in the middle, he gets bloodied and battered, and he's like, I'm getting too old for this stuff. As he reaches into the ground like full of power, the perfect one, as he grabs out of the arena the perfect spoon that he told himself he'd never have to use again. And he grabs it out of the arena like, with all of my life essence, except 1%, so I can kill you with it. The one. As he puts basically all of his life energy, except 1%, into his perfect spoon. Deku's like, what is this? As he kicks into the ground and grabs a gun that he hoped he would not have to use, as he injects the gun, which had a needle on it, into himself. And he suddenly grows 4 arms, and he's like, let's dance. As they both collide with their full powers. And near the end of the fight, when they had basically beaten and bloodied each other, King Spoon noticed he only has 0.1 life essence remaining. And he's like, this'll be our final attack. I hope you're ready. As Izuku jumps into the air like, you think I'm ready? This is your final moment, old man. Make it count. As he lifts up into the air, and from all of his fingertips, dark energy comes out of it, and it makes a black and red ball. Black fading to red ball. And he launches it. He hurls it at King Spoon. And King Spoon gets his V1. And he tries to basically do baseball. And he tries hitting it. But it doesn't seem to budge. And King Spoon is like 0.0999% of life essence. This'll be my last minute remaining, as he powers it into his perfect spoon, but he sees it's just not enough. What did he do with his attack? Or am I really this weak? As Izuku is like, you think you're strong? This will end you. This is the end of the old age of hero society. As he says, full power. As the blast overpowers his spoon, and King Spoon is sucked into it. And when the blast dissipates, King Spoon is left there, his corpse on the ground, dead. And Izuku, landing on the ground, is like, I'm sorry. As a man once said, it was never meant to be. As he walks backwards, and he's like, that seems to be it. As all of Class 1A and 1B had actually escaped through doors, but they weren't the top priority. The civilians and heroes were. But they did get 1C. So Izuku's like, that's enough, everyone. As everyone gets behind him like, we did a great job, everyone. We left our mark on the society that everyone depends on. And now, as he grabs King Spoon's lifeless head, and he says, this is our trophy. as he launches him into the stratosphere and then shoots a massive blast at at the corpse. And he says, "That'll give them some fireworks. Let's go back, everyone," as they all head back to the base. And Marini, who watched the entire thing, is like, "What the heck? Why would they do that?" As she slams her fist and is like, "That never needed to happen. That was pure evil." As the Team Magma people, Maggie, we'll call her, is like, "Oh, we're fading even less into non-relevance." And they didn't have time for final exams, so they went straight to the summer training camp. UA was just trying to rebuild. Because at the same time, a little group of Bad Ruby members blew a massive hole into UA and damaged a bunch of things and robbed the place. So when the students all went to the summer training camp, the first thing they did when they got there, when the bus arrived at the Wild Wild Pussycats, they were all introducing each other when Marini shouts, "Fire!" as blasts all come down from them, and Izuku's not there anymore. So who will we spectate per se? We'll spectate Kaminari because he's cool. So Kaminari immediately makes an electro web around the entire class. Is like, "We need to get back to the bus, everyone. We're being rained on." As Marini goes through the crowd with her massive sword and cuts a couple students in half. Like, "This is my time, my group. I will put us back in the spotlight. I'll be the one on everyone's screens," as she keeps killing the students. And Shinto's like, "Stop it! Why would you do this?" And Marini is like, as she says in her head, "I know his quirk. This won't work on me." As Shinto's like, "Answer me!" As she kicks him into the bus, like, "You guys are way too weak." As the descendant of Tiger puts her in a full Nelson and puts her on the ground, and she's like, "You really don't think I'm the only one here, do you?" As one of the Nomus drop kicks Tiger, and he just goes right into a mountain. And the three other Wild Pussycats like, "Everyone, we need to leave now. We can't fight this battle." As Marini gets back up like, "But we can." As some of the students keep trying to beat her, but Kaminari sees one of the Nomus at a perfect angle and shoots an electro gun into their neck, and it completely immobilizes the Nomu, just paralyzing it. So Kaminari's like, "I know how to stop them, guys. I just need to see them at the perfect angle." Marini's like, "Oh, can you now?" As she immediately dashes towards Kaminari and knees him in the face like, "You're the only one stopping me, are you? Well, let's see how you do against this." As she's like, "Grand LV, Armada, shoot at him." As the electro web breaks from Kaminari being hurt, and they start getting rained on by missiles again. And Marini, every time one got even close to her, she'd just throw up a water shield around her, and it would be just completely resistant. And yeah. So later, towards the end of the fight, there had been around 9 casualties in the students. A tiger actually died from that mountain shot. And a Shinzo and a lot of Class 1A got really injured. And Kaminari was on the verge of death from Marini. And she's like, I will not lose to you, kid. As she dashes towards him with the sword. And right as he's about to be stabbed, Shinzo gets in the way and is stabbed by her sword right in the chest. And she's like, okay, hero. You didn't need to do that, but you did. As she kicks him off the sword, like, don't get your filthy blood on my sword. As she walks away like, that seems to be it, everyone. Not all of them are dead, but I think we left our mark. As one of the Wild Wild Pussycats grabs onto her foot and scratches her like, what the heck are you doing, you twat? And the Wild Wild Pussycat, we'll say the red one, is like, don't do this. You don't need to finish this. You've won. She's like, yeah, we're leaving. And she's like, thank you. And she passes out from blood loss. And as some ambulances quickly arrive. And they get out of there. And yeah, that's what we'll be leaving out for part 4, everyone. This is Call Me Rushed. Sending off. Bye-bye. And yeah, this is also the 600 sub special, guys. Thank you so much for 600 subs. I don't know why I did not mention this at the start, but you know. So, this is Call Me Rushed. Signing off. Bye-bye. Today we are doing What If. Okay. So, on to the story. Hello. Okay, guys, finally. On to the story. We start off right after Team Aqua just attacked the Class 1A. And Izuku, as he's seeing this on the news, just face palms like, okay. UA is being just pelted. So, I have an idea. I'll infiltrate them, but I'll stay with them for a couple of months. I want you guys to basically have a war with Team Aqua and Magma. I'll put in a stand-in, don't you worry. And one of the guys working with Izuku just says, so what do you want us to do then? And Izuku's like, I'll send in an associate for you guys. And I want you to go to war with the other 2. I'll infiltrate the rebuilding UA high school. As the next month, Izuku made a disguise with the new entrance exam since they really need heroes in training. They had another one, and Izuku, who was under the new alias, called himself Wilbur. And he aced the entire verbal exam because he already done it. And Izuku, walking through the to the fighting part of the exam, when a random person over the loudspeaker says start, Wilbur immediately dashes straight towards the middle and shoots pink flames out of his fingers and cuts all of the robots in half. Except 250 of them were dominated by this other kid called Tommy. And yeah. So, when the exam ends, they were the only two that passed, obviously. And the next day they'd hold it again, but those two immediately got to 1A. And Shinzo looked at them when they got into class with the other ones. He says, "Please tell me you guys aren't villains." And Wilbur's like, "No, why would we be?" And Tommy's like, I don't see the point in why we would be. After all, you guys are rebuilding, and we'd like to help regrow the heroes, this hero society, and we'll be beacons of light, just like King Spoon. And the first day was relatively normal for them. They were just tested and stuff. But when that day ended, there was a legendary fight. Izuku switching out of the Wilbur persona. And Izuku walks up to his entire group. He says, "We're raiding somewhere. Follow me, everyone." As they all walk downtown. And when they're all walking towards the place they were going to raid, King Spoon immediately teleports in front of them. Is like, "I'll do this. I am the number one hero. I am the strongest." As Izuku just looks to him like, "Get out of my way, you weak symbol. People believe in you so much." As Izuku starts choking King Spoon in the air. And he's like, "Why do that to people? Is it really the right thing to do if you know the number 2 hero could easily beat you? Yet you always win in popularity polls because of your dumb business and your stupid loving of spoons." As he smacks King Spoon back onto the ground, he says, "Let's see how you do against me." As he tells them all to give them a little space. And Izuku is like, "Here's the deal. I'll only use my right arm and my left leg." As King Spoon's like, "I could beat you with every limb." As Izuku's like, "Really?" As Izuku's like, "Fine. Let's dance, old man." As King Spoon's like, "I've heard this one before." As right as Izuku's about to punch him on the back of the head, King Spoon just catches his fist with his hand and then kicks him into a building. And King Spoon is like, "Don't you doubt this whole time. You really think I'm that easy to beat?" As he touches his necklace, turning into Mega Mewtwo Y. Izuku's like, "I never thought it'd be that easy. But, better." As Izuku is just puts fluff on his face and thinks to himself, this has been an odd year. I thought I wanted to be a hero. Things changed. You changed. Well, this is it." As King Spoon's like, "What do you mean this is it?" As Izuku's like, "Let's do one final attack, King." As King Spoon's like, "Already getting straight to the point, I see." As he jumps into the air, nearly in the stratosphere, and makes a massive, colossal, psychic ball of energy. And Izuku, seeing this, is like, "This will be fun. But I don't need any boost. I don't even need to tap on that little necklace that gives you the power boost. After all, I am one of the strongest people in Japan, as he he puts his entire finger around his his entire hand around his finger and says precision shot, as he shoots one very strong but condensed just shot of pink flames, and it goes straight through King Spoon's blast that was hurling towards the ground, and it goes straight through King Spoon's heart, and King Spoon is like, why would you do this, as he teleports in front of Izuku, and Izuku kicks him away, and then in his normal form says, it was never meant to be, as he makes a pink fireball in front of him, like, goodbye, as he shoots the fireball off and walks back to his army like, let's go, everyone, as he makes a bridge in front of them. Out of another quirk he was able to steal with his mysterious ability that he doesn't yet know how to work, but he somehow got. You guys will find out later in the video how he has an all-for-one quirk. Yeah. So, Izuku looks over to King Spoon's corpse right before he crosses the bridge and is like, you know, I trusted you until I realized how useless heroes are compared to us strong villains. And Aqua really made an example out of 1A. As he taps the ground and it teleports his entire army of villains to the Team Magma headquarters. And Izuku's like, they want magma, do they? As he makes a massive pink fireball. And he says, boom, boom, as he shoots the fireball at the base. And it immediately erupts into a massive ball of flame. And the leaders and all the villains gather outside where Izuku and the army is fighting them. And Izuku, when he's confronted by one of the stronger executives, Izuku first uses pink flames because, you know, it might be a weak one. And when the magma boss uses his fire sword to just cut through the fireball, Izuku's like, 2%, as his eyes go green, and the man combusts into an emerald. His entire body hardens, and as his vision starts to just dissolve, Izuku's like, if you're not stronger than me at that percentage of my power, you will die. It's a pretty strong quirk. Should I have it? No. But that injection really helped me from that lab. As a flashback sequence, we get flashbacks of 2 years ago when Izuku was about to graduate from middle school. When he was exploring an abandoned lab, he found an injection, actually tons of them. And there was one main one in the middle, which was heavily fortified, but Izuku broke through it. And he found a black liquid inside of an injection. He injected it into himself. And then the next day, he touched his friend and realized he could now steal quirks. And Izuku thought, that sounded a bit stupid when it happened, but it happened. As the leader of Team Magma comes out of the facility, and she looks to him like, Izuku Takashi. You've been under that fake name for so long, Midoriya. Well, Takashi, let's do this. And she raises her hand up into the air, and it combusts into a black fire. And she's like, you're not the only one with multiple quirks, as the entire battlefield turns into smoke, and Izuku starts coughing like, oh crap, this will wipe out my army. As he makes his hand into basically a vacuum gun, and it just completely sucks in all the smoke. And when Izuku can see again, the leader, who we'll call Maggie, punches immediately through Izuku's chest, and Izuku's like, what the heck? As he throws her out of his chest, and Izuku's like, I'm a villain boss, Maggie. It takes much more. As the wound just immediately heals. And she is like, how are you that strong? As they are immediately fired on by Team Aqua. And all three villain groups are fighting. No heroes are there because they don't need to be. It's just three villain groups fighting it out. And they may be causing property damage, but not that much. Only to villain group buildings. And Izuku is then hit in the back of the head, and Izuku turns around like, who now? As Marina is like, me. As she kicks him in the face. And Marina's like, you're the one who ruined my plans. If it was just King Spoon there, we would have won. You, though, you're meddling. As she gets out her sword like, Marini and Maggie. We're sisters. As Izuku gets scared, like, this girl with a sword and Maggie. I can't really defeat that. As Izuku is repeatedly cut in half by Maggie, but he just keeps regenerating instantaneously. And Izuku's like, this is born. Okay. As he starts fighting both of them. And Izuku, first off, is on the defensive. And that's when Maggie uses her arm to turn into a cannon. And what she can do is Maggie. We'll just say Maggie. Quirk in formation. She can manipulate any body part to turn into whatever object she knows of. It relies on her physical strength, so she has to be strong enough to support that item. And Marina, well, she has a sword, And she can manipulate water. She can make water shields and items, and she can teleport. And the leader of Team Aqua was actually a descendant of All for One, so that's how she got the quirks. And yeah. And Izuku, eventually kicking both of them in the face with his knee, flies up and makes a very small fire blast, which when it hits the ground, they both spike it into the ground, but it instead of just dissipating, it puts all of the normal villains on fire except his men, because they were using fireproof boots for that plan. Yeah, it was planned. Pog. Anyway, Izuku is like, okay, now just the strong ones. As the second in command with Magma and Aqua's leader both come over to him, and his right-hand man, we'll say Reggie, walks behind Izuku like, this doesn't look good, boss. As Izuku's like, I know, but I have my army. They don't. This looks good for me. And that's when Reggie is like, well, you want me to take them out, boss? And Izuku's like, yeah, pin them all to the ground. As Reggie's quirk, which put chains on his enemy, and they were unbreakable like locks, pins them all in the air to the buildings, and none of them can move from the just strength of it. At least that's what Izuku thinks. And Izuku gets over to both of the Magma, and he cuts straight through the vice, we'll say the vice president of Team Magma, instantaneously. And Maggie's like, no, stop, Miley. As she immediately breaks through the locks with her sword, and with her lance drives straight through Izuku's eye. And when she sees a little diamond in the air, and Izuku's like, what? No, she sees it. As Maggie immediately cuts through it, and Izuku's like, yep, I'm dead. As Izuku gets shut down, and Izuku reads off his quirk because one of the guys in his army is actually a traitor for Magma, and Izuku's like, Izuku Takashi, quirks, as his body is glitching out, and Izuku is eventually, all they get out of is downfall, being diamond destroy, as Izuku starts glitching. Well, his body is glitching in and out of reality, and Marina is like, what is happening to him? Who's doing that? And Maggie's like, that would be your boss. As they see the Team Aqua leader typing on a just rainbow keyboard, and Izuku then says out loud, if diamond destroyed, no quirk, 30 minutes, shut down. As his body just completely shuts down and he falls to the ground, and Reggie's like, boss, what happened? As Maggie immediately stabs Izuku through the heart. But Izuku's actual body watching on a camera, like, they wonder why I was glitching out, but even though his quirk allows him to do that, my robot did stand up pretty well. Even killed a king spoon. Interesting. As he's laying on the couch. And Izuku's like, that robot army was quite good, Reggie. As Reggie's like, yes, boss. As Izuku, at the battlefield, his robot flies up and immediately sucks his entire army into him and then makes a massive plasma blast. And Izuku's like, this is it. This is the end of the story. This is Blood Ruby's dominance. This is our time. As he makes a massive plasma cannon and shoots it at all the people. When the blast dissipates, Maggie is dead. Team Magma's entire group dead. And when they look over to Aqua, well, when Marina wakes up, is like, what happened? As she sees her boss is just cooked. And he's hanging from the chains. And she's like, boss. As she immediately feels all the pain in her body. Like, my shield ability saved me there. As she teleports out of the chains. And looks over to Izuku. And in it, who is deforming. Like, that took too much power. And she immediately grabs her sword and cuts his head off. And then shoots with another water javelin through the diamond. And then cuts through his heart with a sword. Like, that's it. I won. As Izuku teleports with his actual army to Marina, like, I'm so sorry, Marina. As he pats her head, and she's like, but you're right here. And Izuku taps on his head like, that's a robot, you know. As Marina's like, what? As Izuku pats on her head like, I'm so sorry for your loss. As he kicks her onto the ground like, this is the end of the story. I'm so sorry, but this is the dominance of the Blood Rubies era. Starting now. As his hand turns into a plasma blaster. And he takes her by the neck and puts it right into her face. And Marina's like, no, stop. As she stabs him over and over as fast as she can, trying to hit the diamond, but Izuku just programmed into the robot to say that. And Marina's like, stop it. No, please. As she realizes, right, I can teleport. As she teleports out of his grip. And Izuku's like, Victor, do it. As Victor shoots a gas at her. And she can't use her quirk now. And she's like, no. As she starts running. And Izuku, who took her water making quirk right as she started running, Izuku makes a massive javelin. And with all his might, launches it straight at Marina. And Marina is like, I'll get there. I won't let him catch me. As she immediately feels a pulsating feeling of pain straight through her. And she looks down to see a water javelin. And Izuku right in front of her like, now sleep. It was never meant to be like this, but this will be great. And the next day, Izuku, as Wilbur, walks up to his colleague, Tommy, and It says, "Aren't you tired of being nice?" And Tommy is like, I told you, brother. I am not killing. And Izuku's like, "Aren't you tired of it though?" And he's like, "A bit, yeah." As Izuku makes his hand into an explosive, like, "Well, let's do this." And Tommy's like, "Fine." As he blows up Yue. And the number 2 hero arriving at the scene is like, "What is happening? The world is in chaos." Well, I give up. And yeah, that's where I'll be leaving. That's where the series will be ending, everyone. So, yeah, basically, the world is falling apart in Japan. The Blood Rubies will reign supreme, and will have a dominant reign for Izuku's tenure. So, yeah, this is Kami Rushed signing off. Bye-bye.